Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be the Twin Astrology forecast for the Twin Flame Collective for the week ahead. And so we've got some pretty hefty duty aspects playing out this week, leading up to the new moon in Cancer and the North Node shift on the 17th. And so I really want to talk about this because I do feel this is a week of action, planning and action. On July the 10th, we do have Mars entering into Virgo. Just before Mars enters into Virgo, Mercury in Cancer is going to be opposing Pluto in Capricorn at 29 degrees. And so this can likely trigger some power struggles, especially when it comes to the karmic relationship cycles that we're closing out. And so I do feel the energy this week are indicating communication challenges with that aspect. I do feel there's going to be increased mental activity, and especially when it comes to the twin flame telepathy this week. And so I do feel the masculine is going to be finding it very difficult when it comes to communication with others due to the resistance of this connection, creating all kinds of mistrust on both sides of those karmic scales in the false contracts. And so I also feel this is going to trigger a very strong desire for the masculine to face these challenges, to come up with some new ideas that will require him to kind of open up to a newfound sense of kind of like this flexibility to kind of handle these very intense energy shifts. I do feel, what's been avoided up until now when it comes to facing these misunderstandings can no longer be avoided in the energies leading up to the North Node shift. And so with Mars entering into Virgo, Virgo is very diligent, right? I always think of like the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles can be a little bit of a perfectionist energy as well. It's fine detail orientation is what I feel. And so I do see a lot of the masculines paying attention to the details when it comes to the signs and the syncs. And so I do feel the next couple of weeks with Mars in Virgo, this is going to be the perfect time for many in the masculine collective to look at what areas of their life are in a very karmic entangled mess and to kind of sort it out and untangle the karma that they came here to clear this lifetime. And so a lot of this is like an energetic, metaphorical mess that they've created, and we always create karmic ties within these relationships that we carry over from past lives. And so we kind of need these slates to kind of be cleared out in the energies. And so that's going to be dependent on your own journey, what that's going to be about for you. And so Mars in Virgo, I feel, is saying this is the best time to do something that you've been procrastinating on, which would be taking action. And so I do feel a lot of this pressure cooker energy, which is making things very uncomfortable. And once the masculine kind of overcomes these fears, I do feel they're going to feel much better afterward. And so we also have the North Node forming a trine to Mars. And so this is going to be at 0 degrees, 06. And so to me, this is the journey to balance and harmony. 6 is all about balance and harmony. And the 0 point is an anaretic degree. And so we're kind of clearing out a lot of past karma where we haven't quite fully entered into the new earth cycle, and we haven't fully released the old cycle. And so we're kind of in between worlds right now, and things can be very combative, very conflicting as we kind of shift from one way of being to the next and fully get rooted in our karmic pathway. And so I do feel the energies this week are going to provide many of the divine masculines the physical strength to endure all of these challenges and to harness their spiritual abilities. I do feel this strong drive to take action when it comes to these intensely involved twin flame connections. And so I do feel the masculine is regaining a sense of strength to pursue the divine feminine. He wants to be noticed, I feel, by the divine feminine. He wants to go out and I do feel seek communication with the divine feminine, especially with Mercury entering into Leo on July 11th. And so 711 has been a big number for me leading up to the 7/7 portal. That's been a huge sync for me for the last several months. And I do feel with Mercury entering into Leo, this is where the masculine finds his voice to roar, to speak that truth. And I do feel it's going to be quite a shift, quite a change from Mercury in Cancer, which is a water sign. And it's a very sensitive water sign. And so Cancer likes their life to be private. And I do feel with Mercury and Leo, this is saying it's time to be loud, to roar, and to tap into that playful, creative energy that the twins create when we come into union because of the intense connection that we share. And so I do feel intuition is what was guiding the masculine the last couple of weeks with Mercury and Cancer. And I do feel Leo as well is a very intuitive energy, but it's a very different type of intuition. It's an intuition of the heart. And so I do feel a lot of the masculine stayed in these unhealthy situationships because it did provide a sense of emotional comfort when it comes to a pattern in the masculine's life that they were needing to recognize. And so I do feel a lot of the masculines have been internalizing what they've been thinking about, trying to understand the telepathic communication. And I do feel they've kind of been in the shadow landscape of all of their cognitive abilities as well. And I do feel this preservation and this need to kind of nurture that comfort zone. But I do feel with Mercury going into Leo, the intuitive hits are kind of shifting more with a passionate, fiery, inspirational energy. And so I do feel there was a lot of reflecting, there was a lot of pondering, there was a lot of like Six of Cups nostalgia the last couple of weeks. Careful, about what we say, because everybody's a little bit sensitive. And I feel with Mercury and Leo, we're going to be bold, we're going to be brave. And I do feel the masculine is finding his confidence to speak this truth into existence. And so I do feel he wants to make a very bold statement when he does open up the channels of communication in the physical with the divine feminine. I think this is going to create the shift where the masculine releases that fear of judgment and shame attached to him going after and pursuing what it is that he truly wants. It's like he doesn't really care what people are going to think, I feel, in these energies. And so I do feel this is opening up some sort of doorway for the masculines to be their most authentic self. And that will require speaking that truth. And when we speak our truth, our communication, our communication skills can expand. And I do feel the masculine is being asked to deliver the truth, to speak out, to speak up, and to deliver the truth with the divine feminine about this twin flame awakening experience. And so with Mercury entering into Leo shortly after it does that day, it will be forming a square with the North Node, which will be the North Node means in Aries. And so, or in Taurus, pardon me, at 0 degrees 04. And so these are two very fixed energies forming a square. And so oppositions create an internal struggle. Squares create some type of external tower to kind of shake something up when it comes to the status quo. And so I do feel this is going to awaken some type of intellectual gifts within the divine masculine's mind when it comes to what he is here to contribute to the world as part of his spiritual mission with the divine feminine. And so as the feminine kind of comes into this alignment of these higher thoughts, and I know I've been really going within and coming to another layer of understanding, a deeper understanding of my purpose and my mission work, and kind of seeing the big picture again, because it kind of gets shown in bits and pieces. And so we're here to be independent, original, and a lot of us have these very advanced out-of-the-box thinking skills. And so we are here to help the collective step into this ascension process. And so a lot of the masculines have been very much out of sync with the divine feminine. And so as the feminine comes into alignment, this kind of launches the initiation process when it comes to the masculine's awakening. So I do feel a lot of them are experiencing a lot of frustration because it's kind of like they're being forced into this awakening process. And so they've often been sitting in this energy of fear, which has kept them stuck. Fear of criticism, fear of ridicule, of admitting that they made an error in judgment. And so this has been a difficult learning path for a lot of the divine masculines. And so I do feel, though, with Mercury in Cancer, it was creating this energy of the masculine absorbing a lot of information at once, creating even more difficulties, dealing with this very karmic circumstance, which they have created, which they have caused in their life, creating even more feelings of frustration. And a lot of them, I feel, are at this place where they're feeling very much unsupported, and they're facing a lot of opposition. And I do feel this is where they have to kind of harness their intellectual capabilities to not allow anybody's judgment to kind of hold them back from stepping into their purpose. And so we're in this portal of expansion. I do feel union is on the horizon. The masculine is on this search for like-minded spiritual people, and no longer shutting down the feminine, because I do feel he's feeling so misunderstood due to all of this superficiality surrounding him. This has been very draining on the mental processes, and he's having difficulty having healthy communication in all of those karmic relationships, because they're just not aligned to his growth, to his purpose, and who he is on an individual, deep spiritual level. And so I do feel he's being asked to avoid those karmic relationships. We also have the sun squaring it up with Chiron, another external square, another opposition that I feel the masculine is going to have to face when it comes to all of these fears being uncovered surrounding his core wound regarding his ego, his life path, and this ego death. And so we kind of have to look and stare our weaknesses in the face, though, in order to rebuild that very foundation of our core identity. We have to face all of our insecurities and our fears and all of our perceived failings, right? And we do have to face in the mirror all of these unresolved issues, because they will negatively affect the twins' purpose this life. Until all of this is uncovered, unraveled, and untangled, it's very difficult for the twins to come together in that harmonious union. And so the North Node means is leaving Taurus on the 13th of July, I believe, the 13th. But the true North Node will shift on July 17th. And so we're going to be feeling this, right? And this is going to create a conflict because a lot of the masculines have this desire, this need for self-development, and they are on the pursuit of harmony. But I feel they're having a hard time creating that mental balance, especially when it comes to that karmic relationship. And there's going to be a lot of tension being highlighted surrounding giving and receiving, the reciprocity, the Six of Pentacles with the South Node in Libra. And so this is where the masculine needs to learn how to develop some courage to step out of this old relationship cycle with these toxic habits, and to create the right relationship with themselves first before returning to the feminine and creating that healthy relationship that we are here to do. And so I do feel they need to concentrate this week on doing what is right. They need to think about that, how to course correct and to do the right thing this week, and to find the self-confidence to face any conflicts, and to accept and surrender to the relationship loss that really isn't serving them, even though it's created a sense of comfort. And so I do feel they've been going against their own needs for such a long time they are now in the pursuit of harmony. And when the North Node means shifts, it will be in the 7th house of Aries. And so there's going to be a karmic readjustment when it comes to these relationships. And I do feel a lot of self-awareness is coming forward, because the masculine has to also learn to meet the needs of the divine feminine, which he has resisted. This understanding, the thoughtfulness and the sensitivity of this relationship and what it means. And so his egocentrism has led to a lot of self-indulgence, and now he's facing the fear of losing independence. And so we close off the week on the 14th is the last main shift playing out this week, with the sun in Cancer, sextile Uranus in Taurus. And so this is creating the energized portal for the masculine to break free from these restrictive influences, I do feel. And that anything that's kind of been restraining him or his ability to fully authentically express himself is going to have to be faced during this aspect. And so I do feel this really is a time of innovation when it comes to these new family structures that the twins are here to bring forward for New Earth. And so whatever limitations the masculine is currently facing, I do feel there's going to be some type of circumstance presented to free the masculine. The energy is being created, I feel, to redirect the masculine, to lead him to the larger goal at hand when it comes to these unions. And I do feel the inner intuition, the inner voice will be guiding him, because we are here to be these pioneers for these new earth manifestations. And so there's a lot of things changing at this point in time drastically. And I do feel it is making the masculine feel very uncomfortable to have to maybe reach out to the feminine and to seek that support. But I do feel it is time for the twins to reconnect, to pool together their resources, and to enter into these unions, these relationships, because it will bolster our calling at this time and really speed up the ascension process, I feel. So we're going to pull in with some cards. We'll see what else needs to come through for the week ahead. I'm going to pull in with the Spiritual Journey Oracle deck to start. Look at that. There's that new outlook and a relationship paradigm. And so we're going towards the relationships that really speak to our heart, to our soul. And so I do feel peeling back the veil of illusion. And the masculine usually can't see the truth for what it is until the veil is kind of lifted. I remember the activation and the veil being lifted, and it felt like my eyes were being scanned. So I do see they are seeing things from a completely higher perspective. I was just shown an eagle in my third eye. So I do feel a lot of higher ascension truths have been unveiled recently for many of the divine masculines. So let's jump in and we'll dig into the divine masculine first. And expansion just came out, and so new opportunities are being presented now. So all the masculine really has to do is to walk through the doorway to this greater experience with the divine feminine, the paradigm shift. And so a huge release of these outdated, ineffective beliefs. There's that tower, there's that catalyst coming through to redirect. A lot of the masculines go into a karmic relationship cycle, and this person serves as a catalyst to reflect back to them their fears that they're unwilling to face, and to redirect them back towards the feminine. And this is a very necessary, challenging relationship dynamic as part of this energy activation process. And then we got the healing of the soul's DNA. And so I do feel, I know the moon over the weekend was in Pisces, and I did feel a heaviness when it comes to a lot of the masculines going into the deeply embedded past life heart pain. And this does shift the DNA structure, and we're redefining our human existence and our future. And so by the masculine going into facing these deepest, darkest hurts, this will activate the healing pathways. So is there anything else that needs to come through on the Divine Masculine's end in self-worth? Just flipped out. I'll show the card to you guys in just a minute here. Self-worth. And so a lot of the masculines, they look at the feminine and her immeasurable value. And a lot of them have such low self-worth. They self-sabotage the connection, and they run because they don't feel worthy of claiming the divine feminine. And so releasing any self-worth issues, I do feel they recognize the value of the feminine in their life. And they do connect the feminine to their distinct life purpose. And I do feel coming in to claim the feminine as part of their soul's purpose. And so a greater understanding of their purpose this lifetime, embracing the twin flame journey. And I do feel an offer of love coming. And they've been spending time alone, I do feel, kind of disconnecting and relaxing. And this is much needed on the journey, the alone time. Let's see what needs to come through on the divine feminine side. And so interesting, the energetic cords. And so I do, divine feminine just flipped out. And divine masculine flipped out on the feminine side. Okay, very interesting. We get the healer card for the feminine, divine timing, and we get the energetic cords with the divine feminine and the divine masculine energy. And on the bottom of the deck, guidance from spirit, intensifying, and the void. I actually channeled a message on my business page on Facebook about the void. Head on over there if you don't already follow me on Facebook to receive that message. And so what I do feel is the feminine is kind of in this energy of perfect balance between her inner feminine and masculine energies. And so this is creating the shift and the release and the renewal. And so that is divine timing at play, right? And so as the feminine aligns to her inner feminine and masculine and balances that out and integrates the lessons and 0 points it, we do have to recognize the feminine is a very gifted healer. And I do feel a lot of the feminines might be exploring a deeper layer of healing work, energy work. I know I've spoke to a couple divine feminines. One of them is getting ready to write another book. So it might be time to write a book about your journey or the knowledge that you're here to bring forward when it comes to some new thoughts, some new ideas, and how to take action on these healing gifts. But I also feel the feminine too is being asked to sit in her strong intuition and to just allow her energy to nurture and heal the masculine through the energetic giving of compassion. And so this will create the action for the masculine to assert himself and to allow the journey to progress forward. So I do feel divine time says this is the week, right? And so you know, a lot of us recognize that a lot of these counterparts that have ran, they are in very tough karmic situations. And I do feel that situation is intensifying. And a lot of the feminines kind of have to sit in the void while the masculine addresses all of these patterns that he's avoided in order to shift perceptions. And so the feminine, I feel, is just being asked to let things be at the moment. So let's do some twin flame oracle messages from my handwritten deck. See what else needs to come through, and then we'll pull in with the tarot. So intuition kind of flipped out sideways. So listen to the subtle messages. I know for myself, I kept getting like a twitching on my feminine side here, all along the side for hours yesterday. We were out camping at the trailer, but I was like twitching, and I do feel there was like a purge of the feminine side within the masculine. And so listen to the messages that your body brings forward, because the feminines are highly sensitive to the progression on the masculine side, and we need to lean in and trust those messages that we're receiving. So let's see what needs to come through for the twins. see the innocence in everyone involved. And so I believe that would be the forgiveness card. I'll have to double check here in a minute. And create space. So that's kind of a confirmation of what my guides asked me to do, was to create space. Do I even have room for this man to arrive in my life? So I'm kind of in like this nesting energy, and a summer break, and you know, I just want to go once again and do like a sweep, a purge, a clearing of the house, and forgiveness. It was the forgiveness card, guys. And we don't know what we know on the journey until we know it. And when we know it, then we kind of have to take action. And so this is the invitation card too. So we all have free will on the journey, but we can use our intuition, we can use our love, our intentions, and our energy to call the twin forward. But I do feel a lot of us are in this ascension portal, needing to get grounded as all of these higher light codes are transmitted. As we raise our soul's vibration, we also have to go into the shadows to shed these older limitations. So go outside and ground in nature. That will allow you to kind of protect yourself and shield yourself from any negative energies, because divine timing says it's time to co-create the next leg of the journey. So release any doubts about coming together, I think would really serve a lot of the twins at this point in time. Ooh, 7 of Swords in reversed, 3 of Pentacles in reversed, 2 of Cups. I was planning on pulling into the masculine first, so this could be a confession. Maybe the masculine has confessed to the karmic that this is no longer working, and that, you know, he might be going towards the divine feminine. Yeah, to course correct this injustice is kind of what it's feeling like. So there might be like just a blurting out of the truth, because it's been buried for so long. My hair is looking kind of funky today. All right, let's see what needs to come through on the divine masculine side for the energies for the week ahead. I'm using the Mythic Tarot to pull in to the divine masculine's energies for the week ahead. 10 of Wands reversed, 4 of Cups sideways, the Emperor reversed. Wow. Well, there's that ego death. There's that releasing of the burden of, you know, I've got to be right. I'm not going to admit that I made a poor mistake. Do you feel a lot of the masculines have been a little bit abusive, cold to a lot of the karmics, and releasing that, because at the core, these masculines are very loving. But when they're in a toxic relationship cycle, that's what they're going to appear to be, very toxic, abusive, and narcissistic. And then the challenge is the 4 of Cups. And that's interesting. Before I grabbed this deck out of my holder behind me, I, for some reason, was shown this 4 of Cups. And I knew it was going to come out. And I kind of look at this. You can depict this as 3 women on the card, but I kind of feel like a masculine sitting at a table with 2 women. And this is a long overdue conversation, right? We've got all the 4 cups, laying it all on the table, laying it all down, right? To kind of make sense of this emotional suppression that we've all kind of been stuck in due to this lack of honesty on the divine masculine's part when it comes to his discontent and his boredom. And so ancient Rome as well, I believe, is coming up. And so that would be linked to the Aries shift as well. Something about, you know, the god Aries, the god of war. And so we're here to clear the war template. And so I do feel an honest conversation. If you kind of see, we've got a woman in red, which would represent the karmic. We've got a feminine at the back of the table, and she's all dressed in white, holding flowers, almost like a bride energy. And then we've got this energy cloaked in black. And so the masculine's really been suppressing a lot of these emotions. And so that's the release of the suppression. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. And there's that communication. So cutting through the illusion, cutting through the fog. Below the Page of Swords, the 3 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords reversed. Give me 1 second, guys. below the Nine of Swords is the Nine of Cups in reversed. And so we've got the Page of Swords upright, then we got all of these reversals, right? The Three of Coins reversed, the Nine of Swords reversed, the Nine of Cups reversed. And so I do feel this is long overdue. There's been a lot of sleepless nights. I do feel a lot of the masculines have been haunted in dream space. I do feel maybe they fear that they've lost out on wish fulfillment due to all of the blocked communication. I do feel a confession is coming, right? The masculine has been living in denial, living in all of these challenging lies for such a long time. I do feel, though, there's going to be an open-hearted conversation. I do feel laying all the truth on the line. No more blown smoke out his ass. And I do feel he's really withheld this new offer, this new beginning, because maybe he doesn't really have a lot to offer you, Divine Feminine. But I do feel, you know, he does want to come in. He's been withholding this offer. And I do feel you will receive communication of everything that's kind of been going on, and an apology for walking away and leaving you in the dust, right? Is kind of how I see that coming for the feminine. Let's pull into the Divine Feminine's energy. I'm going to use the Light Seers deck. Bottom of the deck, Six of Cups in reversed. Nine of Cups in reversed. I know for me, I've kind of let go of any hope of a return. I've kind of let go of any illusion of this was my happily ever after. I also feel the feminine's kind of healed addiction. She's healed from addictions, codependencies, and she's also healed from any childhood patterns, maybe a father wound as well. I don't know that the feminine is really going to be open to receiving. So we're going to see what comes through for the feminine. Four of Cups in reverse stayed on the table. And so that's very interesting. I feel you've released the weight, right? A lot of the feminine sit waiting, bored, discontent. You know, we sit in this energy of Four Cups and we fill our own cup. We give ourselves all of this love, the blessings. And I do feel a lot of the feminines have released any hope of return of the third party. Yeah, I feel the feminines are done. They've released the cycle. And that doesn't mean done, but like the lesson's been released for the feminine is what it feels like. All right, let's see what else needs to come through for the Divine Feminine for the week ahead. Oh, the Three of Cups. Yeah, that is so interesting. The Three of Cups come out upright with the Page of Cups in reverse. We've released any hopes of an apology coming in. And I do feel a lot of the feminines, you know, we've turned our back to the gossip and the drama surrounding this entire connection. So, yeah, it's definitely with the Knight of Wands upright, the Chariot reversed, the Sun reversed, Cancer, Leo energy. Oh, yeah. So that is what I feel. The feminine's released resistance. She is all done struggling with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. She's gone through a period of enlightenment. She's coming unstuck, right? No longer going to ponder about this missed opportunity. I do feel the feminine's gone through a lot of growth. You know, we've gone through the breakdown, the dark night of the soul, and I feel the feminine's kind of taken back her flame again. And a lot of the feminines too, maybe we're not going to be ready to settle down like that black stallion energy. But I just feel a lot of the feminines, we go through it. We wait and ponder for an apology, for recognition of the missed opportunity. And it is all in the feminine's mindset shift. Is it really that huge of a missed opportunity, right? And let's see what's on the bottom of the deck, the King of Cups. Interesting. I just kind of feel a lot of the feminines have released looking at this as the path forward. So maybe you will be presented with a new path forward, but the Four of Cups is coming up. I do feel as the feminine releases, this kind of has to be laid on the table. I do feel you're not going to see the masculine coming back, although you feel it. You can feel this coming. You can feel the masculine wanting to approach to release the burden. But I do feel you've got your doubts about this leading to anything solid because maybe of the abandonment the first time around and the lack of truth. But ultimately, I do feel possibilities for union. But I feel it's going to be your call, Divine Feminine. Are you ready for this new beginning in love? And I do feel there needs to be a conversation about the past manipulation as well. So let's make this short and sweet. I'm going to get a closing energy for the Divine Masculine for the week ahead using the Crystal Stone deck. And then I will pull a message for the feminine. One last message. Beam yourself way up. So yeah, I do feel a lot of the masculines have been kind of teleported to places of transcendence, of these truths, these higher truths. Almost like the birth of the spiritual path for the masculines, so they can clear the skepticism, the cynicism, and the judgment, to not be so overly logical and to lean into the heart. And so I do feel they're looking for that ray of light for the feminine this week. They need something to come into their life that's good, and they're praying and channeling, because I think right now a lot of the masculines feel like their life is like a moving target, and they're skeptical about their true path with the feminine because of the abandonment fear. And I do feel their thoughts really are bringing them down this week for sure. And so the highs and the lows, right? And so they got to release the acting that they've been doing in the false connection. They've got to be willing to open up to the channels of love with the Divine Feminine. So we'll see what needs to come through for the Divine Feminine for a closing message. Oh, there we go. Magnetize. Or magnesite. Magnetize. I do feel you're magnetically attractive at this time. And Herkimer Diamond. And so the feminine, I feel, is stepping into spiritual mastery on her spiritual path, is what it feels like. And things are becoming more clear than ever before for many of the Divine Feminines this week. I think you finally made your mark in the world, and you're kind of just owning your alluring energetic properties right now. I know it's just interesting how everything kind of just falls into place. I've been bumping into all kinds of people on the journey from the past that I've connected with throughout the years. And it's just this magical energy kind of drawing everything in to my path right now, which is phenomenal. And so I do feel a lot of the feminines are stepping into like the energy of like a monk when it comes to their spirituality and their healing work. And I do feel this is creating the energy of the masculine being completely lost in their thoughts, running wild, because they're dragging so far behind a lot of the feminines. And you need to remember, you are such a powerful force to be reckoned with, Divine Feminine. You rule it, you own it. And so meditation will really serve a lot of the feminines well. If you meditate every day, it'll really help you tap into that Aquarian intellectual processing for the next leg. So a lot of cerebral energy when it comes to ideas for the feminine. And on the bottom of the deck, we get Muscovite. So third eye, I do feel a lot of foresight, a lot of supernatural, synchronistic third eye visions coming forward for a lot of the twins. So we're going to want to explore and navigate all of those visions and those ideas this week. And we want to believe in what we're seeing, because a lot of the masculine's been missing the signs. And they can't logically fix any of these issues. It's going to have to be like blowing the lid off the heart and getting a grip on their life. And so Moldavite might be a good stone to work with, but you're going to want to find some solid ground before working with Moldavite this week. It's a very powerful stone. But that's kind of what I got for the twins for the week ahead, guys. I'm hoping to be able to fit in some time to do all the signs for the new moon in Cancer, because I feel this is going to be a very pivotal new moon, the midway point. So I'm hoping to get those all out. So keep an eye out for that. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead, and I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.